what if Roosevelt Raceway still existed? That's what I'm going to explore here today in this video. My name is Daniel and I'm just a casual racer, and today I'm taking a really early preview look at Authentic Simulation's Roosevelt Raceway. This is set as if it would be, a racetrack, still active in 2024, and it has a ton of different layouts, because we went through and walked our way through kind of how would the history of this track existed if it had continued to be raced at after the 40s, and the evolution through the different eras of racing. And we really felt drawn to more of a testing track, in that the only way a track like this would have been viable in certain eras would have been if there had been multiple layouts and a lot of variation for car companies and race teams to test that and to host a lot of different events, including even a short oval layout. And so you'll see some of the many different layouts that are possible. This is just one of them. I've got a early basic AI line here, so this is definitely going to have some quirks with the AI and how they drive, but this will give you a good look at what we're creating here. You're also going to notice that a lot of the sponsorship signs are empty, and we're looking for people, if anyone would like a sponsorship sign, just email us at development@authenticsimulation.com. And we'd love to discuss getting you on sponsorships. We're actually doing a program for our key sponsors for multiple different tracks and even some of our cars and stuff over the course of an entire year for one very low and affordable rate. Anyways, right here, I'm driving the Authentic Simulations Rush SR around this circuit. So both of these are Authentic Simulation projects, and just really a lot of fun to drive this car around this track. It's really cool to work with the team to develop a project like this. This is being led by Tyrone Hesbrook from Nuke Drop Tracks, who is one of the co-owners of Authentic Simulation with myself. And it's really cool to work with a team of people to develop a track that is based on something that really did exist. This isn't a fictional track. It's based on a track that went defunct in the 1940s. And so what would it look like if it had existed today? So we're basing off of historical references to create something new. And I feel like it helps to keep things really grounded and give an authenticity to a track that otherwise, might be lacking a little bit. Now we're going to see this car go right to that wall there, which isn't solid. Wonder if he'll rejoin. There he is. But yeah, so move up into second here as we complete the first lap. You'll see right there, some leeway. We decided that we'd put for Formula One, let's have a really cool podium area right there in front of the grandstands, things like that. And actually, this circuit, one of the things we kind of did in the last stage of creating the history behind it was like, well, let's make this FIA Grade 1, right? Let's say Formula One, maybe they didn't actually get to host a race, or maybe they do. That's up to you, really, and your own story that you use this track to tell. But it definitely went out there and tried to get a Formula One race at the very least. And so, there's the massive modern grandstand above the garages, which we felt was a really cool touch, taking reference from Kyalami and also other circuits such as Circuit of the Americas. And so we really felt like that was a really kind of a cool touch in some of these modern tracks that we wanted to recreate here at Roosevelt. So you'll see right here on the left a good shot of the front stadium. Big, long, and then you'll see here we also have the stands at the end in the final corner, which is banked, as is in 1930s, the track. 1937, the actual Roosevelt track was banked, the final turn. And we really wanted to try to create a circuit that has a ton of different layouts. We're going to be working to bring this track to a lot of different sim racing games, so hopefully we'll be able to drive this in other titles, and that'll be really exciting. And of course, we wanted something that would fit GT cars, Formula One cars, Indy cars, really anything we could think of, even NASCAR cars such as on the oval. And of course, providing a lot of testing opportunities. There's a lot of short track variations here. An outer circuit and an inner circuit, east and a west. So, Ooh, really send it in there. Shifting down too early. Lose up second place. There we go. To the final bank corner here to end our second of 3 laps. Really leaning on the arrow. The power down. Trying to get a nice run here. Maybe getting the slipstream. But yeah, this is really, as I mentioned, you can see on the right a good shot of the pits and things like that. And then, of course, going to drive under the podium here for a second again. Woo! There goes an AI car out of nowhere. You'll see here there's 2 different versions of this corner. And this is an idea of ours we had, you know, more of a Formula 1, modern Formula 1 sharp left-hand type corner. But there's also still the original circuit and that original corner, which of course could be used maybe perhaps more GT racing, and you just have the option. And that's something that I really like, is that there's still the vintage layout. You can still run that with a modern car, on a modernized version of that. So instead of turning left here, you go straight and all of that. So, and we also took reference, like this section here, right? This is from the 1936 version of the layout. So you'll see that this, you go off through here. And so we felt like, because of just some of the higher speeds and the short runoff coming from that section, we felt like to keep speeds a little slower, since you're kind of doubling back on yourself, you know, you wouldn't want to there to be necessarily slow it down, and then the fact that there's less runoff between the 2 parts of the circuit that are close together wouldn't have been an issue in terms of getting FIA certification, which we looked at when designing the Formula 1 version and making tweaks and adjustments to the circuit. You know, and it's a lot of fun when you look at some of that stuff and you're like, oh, we have the actual limitations that real Formula 1 designers would have, but we're also coming from not just make a track out of thin air. No, we have the base that was created back in the 30s that we're actually having to try to keep the character of and be realistic in terms of, okay, how would this have evolved? How would this then have met FIA regulations and all that, which is really a lot of fun to do. And we have some plans. I will say this. We have some plans. This will not be the first what if it still existed track of ours. We have another track in development in the very early stages already, and then I'm sure we'll revisit this again. You know, it's just really cool, like, what if? I mean, one that we've talked about is, for example, maybe like the Paramount Ranch. We could call it some sort of North Ranch, California Ranch, something like that track, and do a modern version of that circuit or something like that. We've talked about a lot of different things that we could ultimately end up doing and bringing to life within Assetto Corsa and other sims that are grounded in a historical track, but modernized and brought to life in a way that brings I think a unique approach that is more authentic, as is our name, than perhaps just creating something completely from scratch. And so we have a lot of cool ideas over at Authentic. Of course, we have some licensed projects, officially licensed projects such as the Rush SR. And hopefully this is just another look behind the scenes that you guys find interesting. Finished second there in that race, even with the wonky AI. And hopefully this was enjoyable and informative. But most of all, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your week.